That's not good enough. People shouldn't have to buy food from places that look like that.
Oh dear, that's mouldy. That's very mouldy.
We're told by our supermarkets they're full, the best fresh produce money can buy. But when we visited dozens of stores over a 2-day period, we found a less than fresh picture. From the biggest to the smallest supermarkets, grocery grime is growing, sometimes literally. Mould on the walls, mould in the fridges. We lost count of the number of dead flies we filmed, cockroaches in freezers and on the floor, rotten meat, shelves covered in meat spills, floors caked in sticky spills, dirt and rubbish that's been there for who knows how long. If you were prone to crying over spilt milk, you'd need a lot of tissues at these stores. It's enough to make you sick, and it can.
All of us could get food poisoning from what we've seen.
Some of the things that we've filmed, what could be the impact on the consumer?
They can become very ill.
Joanne Ballantyne is manager of Food Safety Now, a food handling and safety training company. She says there are 19,000 cases of foodborne illnesses reported in Australia each day.
It seems that not enough time and effort is being put into cleaning.
In one supermarket, we found dead flies in the deli, on the walls, thick layers of mould, frozen vegetables laying on the bottom of the freezer. In the meat section, it was even worse. Juices from red meat dripping onto chicken below.
You don't ever want to have red meat dripping down onto white meat. It causes bacteria and you can get sick.
The racks were caked in dried raw meat.
Oh, that looks pretty ordinary, doesn't it? Is that dried meat? Blood? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be very concerned about that.
You can't tell me that this has just happened today and, you know, we clean it every day. You can see, look, that's been there for weeks to get that amount of build-up and dried, crusty bits of blood and meat. That's a real worry.
How long these spillages have been sitting on these shelves is anyone's guess.
It's been there for a while, it's dried, it's dripping. I mean, how can staff walk past that and not realise it needs cleaning?
We took swabs in the meat section of that store to test for bacteria levels.
It was these oysters from that supermarket that were a real eye-opener. They were packed on the 21st of December last year and they have no use-by date printed on them. Seafood experts say oysters should really only be frozen between 6 and 12 weeks. These have been sitting in that store for 6 months. And let me tell you at home, you should be very grateful right now. You can't smell them.
Oysters are notorious for being things that will make you very ill if they're just even a bit off.
Cherie Daly is from the Queensland Consumers Association. What we showed her left her appalled.
We have a problem. People have a right to expect that when they go in and buy food from places that are making major profits and charging high prices, particularly for things like meat, that where they purchase their food from is clean and hygienic. That certainly isn't.
It's not just cleaning where we found problems. In one supermarket we came across this packet of lunch meat, well within its use-by date. But take a closer look, the prosciutto is mouldy.
That's something I certainly wouldn't eat.
We asked Glenn Pinner from Biotech Laboratories to examine the prosciutto and test the swabs we took in the meat section of that other store. The prosciutto was, not surprisingly, spoiled.
If we were looking at a ready-to-eat cooked food, that's required by the food standards to have less than 10,000 bacteria per gram. And we're looking at a food that had 52 million.
That sample we took from the meat cabinet returned a large bacteria count.
The standard requires that a properly cleaned and disinfected food surface are required to have less than 6 bacteria in every square centimetre. But on the swabs you took, you found something like 5,000.
The standards for food storage areas are strict.
Looking at the results that we got and from the video, there's a real potential for food poisoning to occur unknowingly by just shopping at a supermarket.
To maintain their licences, regulations dictate businesses must keep food surfaces free from dirt, dust or food particles and sanitised by heat or chemicals, something that clearly isn't happening in many of these stores.
Why? What's going on?
Perhaps they're short of staff and they're not putting it as a priority, and they need to realise that food safety is a priority, even from an appearance sake.
What we found is sure to raise eyebrows in the head offices of supermarkets, says our cleaning expert.
I'm sure they'll be shocked to see the discrepancies.
If this is their attitude front store, what's it like back store?
If you see something like this, don't just walk past and say it doesn't matter. Complain. Make a comment to the store manager. Do something about it. Because unless the community actually stands up and says, not good enough, it just goes on.